Well, hello and welcome to Southbound, an NFL podcast where two depressed Saints fans talk about the NFL, the NFC, and the NFC South. Quacker, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Good. And by the way, my name is Matt. I said Quacker's name, didn't say mine. We just got off our other podcast, Alumni House. So one of the things that we always talk about and highlight at the intro of this episode is that, or of this show, is that we're two depressed Saints fans, but we've got just a little winning streak going on in New Orleans. Little winning streak, but it's a little bittersweet too, because it looks like it could very well be the end of the Taysom Hill era in New Orleans. I certainly hope it's not, but it also seems like it's a very real possibility. So, little bit
There's
sad.
couple players that are looks like it could be the end because they were talking about
Well,
Cam Jordan as well.
Well, yeah, but the difference is I think Taysom Hill is going to be continuing to play. I think those other guys are going to retire. Taysom Hill becomes a free agent, so it's a little less sad to see him retire in New Orleans than it is to see that they still want to play and the team doesn't re-sign him. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So we're gonna talk about the games coming up, and of course there are 3 of them tomorrow, and then we'll talk about some playoff scenarios and things that we're looking for to happen. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into it. So tomorrow, and Quacker is gonna tell us at the end of each analysis where we can find each of these 3 games. So the first game at 1 p.m. is the Cowboys versus the Commanders. This game does not matter anymore because the Cowboys are now officially eliminated with the Eagles win last week. So this game matters to Cowboys fans and Commanders fans. That's all I have to say about it. If you don't have anything to say, where do people watch this one tomorrow?
This is on Netflix.
Okay. All right. Now,
it's so weird.
Well, it is, but last year they had that big issue. What was it, around Thanksgiving? But then they had a Christmas Day game that didn't blow up. So hopefully it's a little better. And then the Lions go to the Vikings. This game has a little bit of juice left. It doesn't have very much because if I am remembering correctly, while the Lions are not officially eliminated, they are all but at this point, which is crazy to think. And yeah, I'm looking at it now. They are not out of it, but they are not in the best of positions. So
I think they have to win out, and somebody else has to lose out for them to get in.
Yeah. So there's a mathematical shot, but it's not a good one. So, and where is this one going to be?
This is also on Netflix.
Okay. This one is a game that I think will have a little bit more national attention because I think people care a little bit more about these teams and can also stomach watching these teams as a neutral fan more than maybe they could the Cowboys.
I just realized all 3 of these games, like these teams played on Thanksgiving as well, or at least one of the teams from each game played on Thanksgiving.
Did they?
Yeah, the Cowboys. The Cowboys play every year on Thanksgiving. The Lions on Thanksgiving, and the Chiefs played the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. So all 3 of these teams played.
Very astute. And of course, the Lions and the Cowboys play every year on Thanksgiving. Never each other, but they always play on Thanksgiving. The Commanders, the formerly known as Redskins, I'm not afraid to say the name. They used to play a lot on Thanksgiving. They were not an every year team, but they were an almost every year team. And oftentimes were an opponent of the Cowboys. So where is this? Well, actually, no, don't answer that yet because I haven't even said the names of the teams. So the Broncos are going to Kansas City. The Broncos are 12-3. They lost last week, so they really need this to stay alive for playoff positioning. I mean, they're in the playoffs. That's not, no one's questioning that. But it's their positioning within the playoffs. Now the Chiefs are at a point to where they're just all they can do is play spoiler. And that game is at 8:15 p.m. tomorrow evening.
Yeah, do we know who's going to play quarterback for the Chiefs? Because I'd heard Gardner Minshew got hurt last week, and I haven't seen anything on like who's going to be starting for him. I mean, if it's him or if it's.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I'd forgotten that Minshew was on the team. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is one of those things. What's
Blake Bortles doing? Go call him.
Yeah, it's crazy that the Chiefs' run ends with an injury like we saw. I mean, it's kind of like in some ways, Mahomes and Brady's career are kind of following a similar road path because you remember Brady tore his ACL. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little sooner in his career than what Mahomes is, but
sooner, but not much. But yeah, I would agree with you in every way, except I don't think you meant it like this. And I don't think the Chiefs' end run has ended. I think
not in the big picture, no. But
I think they are in a reboot, not a rebuild. And we saw the Patriots have to do that too. And so yeah, no, they are following similar paths. It was a little sooner, but it was I think his first season was 2000 or 2001, and that happened in 2008. So it was 7 years in, and I think Mahomes in his 8th year maybe or 9th. I mean, they're really close in terms of ages. I don't know how did Mahomes come in 16 or 17?
He sat 1 full year behind Alex Smith. I want to say that was 16, but I'm not 100% sure.
He was drafted. He joined the Chiefs in 17. Okay, so his first year looks like would have been 2017. Yeah, so 18 would have been his first year as a starter. However, though, so he's 30 right now. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, and he tore his ACL and MCL the first game of the 2008 season. And how old was he then? 31. So actually Brady was older than Mahomes. I didn't expect that. But I figured they were close, right? You know, in age. But that's crazy. I mean, they're very, very similar.
Yeah, both have won 3 Super Bowls at this point in their careers. Both have knee injuries.
And this was around the time you start seeing the Patriots retool their roster. They put out their first couple Super Bowls was a whole different cast of characters than their last few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're more defensive oriented. Run the ball a lot, and just kind of let Brady manage it. And then as he got more comfortable and grew into what he became, they opened up the offense more. And of course everybody remembers was it 2009 season when they were undefeated all the way to the Super Bowl.
That was 2007.
Lost to the Giants. That was 7. Okay.
That was 2007. Well, it was the it was the 2007 season. It was the 2008 Super Bowl. But it was the year. It was the season took place in 2007.
Okay. Yeah, I was. It's time has passed so much that I get those. Because 09 was when the Saints won it. Yeah. Yeah. So they had that high flying offense with Randy Moss, and I think Brady had 50 touchdown passes that year, and just they had started retooling the offense, and of course when he came back, they continued to evolve the offense. They started going to the smaller receivers. That's when you saw Wes Welker and all those come in, and eventually you got Julian Edelman and Gronk and those guys, and it was Gronk and Hernandez for a little while, and then they had to change
We're gonna have to.
again.
We're
So
gonna have to turn that into. We're not gonna be able to say that anymore. It's gonna be like Voldemort. So he who must not be named, and Gronk. But yeah, I mean, for all the negative, like they were a pretty potent tight end duo, you know.
yeah,
And obviously for very good reason, people don't talk about his on the field production, but it was there.
yeah,
And so Tom Brady had like the best tight end tandem maybe ever. But unfortunately, for other reasons, that will never be the prevailing thought of surrounding those teams. Now
hmm
Gronk and Hernandez didn't actually join the team until 2010. They were the same year. They came in the same year, but it was
yeah,
it was the 2010 NFL season, which is what's really crazy is when you think back, like someone like people like us who saw the whole Patriots run. It's weird to think that Gronk wasn't present for the whole first part of it because he was such an integral part of it, you know. And then
hmm
obviously Brady wanted him to come to Tampa Bay, and he did. And like they just seem like they're really good, buddies. And I'm just like, it's weird that like there was a whole like half of that Patriots run that didn't involve Gronk, you know.
yeah, yeah. Well, the Gronk for that team was the current Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. Um, just as kind of personality wise, very very similar. You're boisterous, having fun. And of course, if you don't remember, if you're too young to remember that run, Mike Vrabel, who's a linebacker, but when they got to the goal line situation, they would put him in at tight end. And
Okay, I was wondering where you were going with that. I was like, he wasn't a tight end, so I'm just gonna let you. I'm gonna let you say this, but um, no, I didn't
yeah,
remember that. I didn't remember that.
he played tight. I know he had at least 8 touchdown catches in his career, and I think it was more than that. But
I know they had a
um,
fullback in that first run, and I can't remember his name. But they used him a lot. I remember. Oh, now I just had his name. Teddy.
Teddy Bruschi,
Teddy Bruschi. There were a couple other names that were,
Richard Seymour.
yeah, but I don't remember him as much. But yeah, no, but I mean we could talk about them all day. But yeah, it was they were full of grade A cast members, and then obviously it changed, and they still did it, So, but all
Yeah.
right, so let's move on now quickly to Saturday the 27th. Texans are going to the Chargers. These are two teams that are both going to be in the AFC playoffs. At this point, we're basically certain of that. What this game actually matters more for the Chargers and their potential number one campaign, and for the Jaguars and the Texans as to who's going to win the AFC South. Texans losing this game, I think, is pretty bad overall for them. Because I think if the Jags win their next game and the Texans lose, the division is wrapped. I think. But we'll see. So, those are kind of the potential important storylines there. The Ravens are going to the Packers. Man, Baltimore is not mathematically eliminated, but they are currently sitting in ninth, 7-8. I think the only chance they have left is their division because I think they are mathematically eliminated from the wild card discussion. So it's going to come down to them and the Steelers in that regard. So I don't know that this game matters much for them at all because, like I said, I think the only way they have to get into the playoffs is via the division championship. All right, so now we're going to move on to a lighter Sunday because there are 5 games that will already have been played at this point. Cardinals are going to the Bengals. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. Nobody cares about this game. 3-12 Cardinals, 5-10 Bengals. gonna be a hoot. Steelers are going to the Browns. Steelers should win this. They're looking to try and wrap the division, so I expect them to win this. I expect the Saints to go to Nashville and win. Yes, they are 5-10, and the Titans are 3-12. But the Saints have been gaining momentum, whereas the Titans have kind of been the same all year. So expect the Saints to win that game. Jaguars going to the Colts. Now, this is interesting, okay, because these are division rivals, and the Colts are still alive. But if they were to – I saw this the other night when they were playing. If they were to miss the playoffs, they would be only the third team in, I think, the Super Bowl era to start with either 7-2 or 8-2 and miss the playoffs, which is crazy. Now, of course, they had lots and lots of injuries, that plagued them all year. But that is pretty interesting because we know the Jags have clinched the playoffs. We know the Jags are almost certainly going to win their division. What we don't know is where everyone's going to land in the seeding. So, this could be a game where the Colts, obviously, they're still alive for the playoffs, and they want to win it because it's a division game. And division games can get a little weird. So,
yeah,
we'll see. The battle for Lower Florida, the Bucs are going to Miami to play the Dolphins in a game that I wish it was possible for both teams to lose, but if one team has to lose, I'll settle for the Bucs losing, although they're a lot better than the Dolphins, so I don't know if that's going to happen. Then the Jets host the Patriots, and speaking of the mid-2000s, was a pretty good rivalry back then when both teams were good. The Seahawks are going to Carolina. This is going to be a snoozer. Carolina needs this game because winning this game all but wraps up the NFC South for them, but they're not nearly as good as the Seahawks, so I don't see that happening at all. The Giants are going to the Raiders, battle of 2-13, so whoop-de-doo there. Eagles are going to the Buffalo. So whoever scheduled this late in the year, shame on you for doing that to those teams, but kudos to you for doing that to us fans. because the players have got to be really annoyed that they have to go play like such a tough game this late in the year. And now Philly, it's not like they're in the tropics. They're used to cold weather, but they're going to Orchard Park in, the deepest of deep December. So no favors there. And by the way, I'm pretty sure you can look this up and challenge me, but I'm pretty sure that Buffalo gets more snow per year than any NFL host city in the league. And it might be by 2 or 3 or 4 times. They get way more snow. So guarantee you there will be snow.
That makes sense.
So, So then the Bears are going to Santa Clara to play one of those teams that's in a cold weather environment that never gets snow, being the 49ers. They're obviously in Northern California, but not a lot of snow there. And then finally, Monday evening, the Rams are going to Atlanta. What we need, and by we, I mean Quacker and I and all Saints fans, is for the Falcons to lose this game so that next week when we play the Falcons to end the regular season in Atlanta, we can be third. We can finish third in the division. Conceivably, if the Buccaneers lose out, we could actually finish second in the division through a weird scenario that doesn't matter because second, third, or fourth, I mean, they're all playoff list, endeavors. Yeah. But you know what it's like if you have an NFL team that you're a fan of. You just want to finish ahead of the rest of the teams in your division. So,
Boy, this version of the NFC South is turning into like the 2010 version of the NFC West.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Because I think what's funny, if you look at these other divisions, now obviously what Quacker is referring to is the NFC West in 2010 was largely regarded as maybe the worst division ever in football because they had their division winner was, now this is back in when there were 6 games, but I think, or 16 games, but I think they were 7-9. I think is what they were, is what they finished, and that was the Seahawks. And then they hosted a game against the Saints and won the game. That's where beast mode came from and all that. But here's why I don't think that's the case. Because if you look at this division and then you compare it to, and people are going to think I have lost my mind, but follow my logic and you'll see that it's true. The NFC South is no worse than the NFC East. No worse at all. All right, so let's go through it. In 4th place in the NFC South, you have the New Orleans Saints, 5-10. In 3rd place, you have the Atlanta Falcons, 6-9. In 2nd place, you have the Buccaneers, 7-8. In 1st place, you have the Panthers, 8-7. In the NFC East, in 4th place, you have the Giants, 2-13. 3rd place, you have the Commanders, 4-11. So your bottom 2 are already worse records than the worst team in the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2nd place team, Dallas, is 6-8, which in the 6-8-1, which in the NFC South would be good for 3rd. Because it's because the Buccaneers have 7 wins and the Panthers have 8 wins. So then you have the Eagles at 10-5, which is 2 games better, obviously, than the Panthers. So I actually like I get where you were going with that, but I was looking at this the other day and I was like, there are a few divisions that are really just as bad and actually like worse. And then another one is the AFC North. The AFC North's leading team is 9-6, and their 2nd place team is 7-8. And obviously they have a 3-win team and a 5-win team in their division. And again, the worst team in the NFC South at this moment has 5 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't know it was going to be you, but I've been prepared for this counter argument for a while because I never wanted the South to be that. And look, people not quacker, but people like to talk about the NFC South like it's really laughable. It's actually on average a pretty average division. What it's not is a division that's going to produce 3 playoff teams in a year. Those are rare. Normally it's the NFC North that does it. The NFC East is odd because they will be really bad like they are this year, and they'll have years where they could possibly produce 3.
Mm-hmm.
But the NFC South, trying to think, so like has had each of these teams has made at least 2 conference championships in the last 20 years, which is like as good as any division, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand, and I did not mean to commandeer your train of thought, but as soon as you said it, I was like, okay, yes, this is my moment. I get to bring out what I've been looking at that was useless until now. But no,
I was just looking at the fact that you could have the team that wins the division being under 500. So,
you could, but our worst team is arguably better than the worst team in basically every other division, with the exception of possibly not possibly, but with the exception of the NFC North, which is the best division in football this year. You know, because your worst team has 7 losses or has 7 wins. So, yeah, but no, it is interesting for sure. So,
yeah, and the fact that the Saints are sitting at 5 wins right now, when halfway through the season we were looking at fighting for the number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was
go ahead.
Well, I was telling you beforehand, if we'd played Tyler Shuck to begin the season, we may be looking at a playoff berth here.
Well, and I think and I think one of the important things too to remember is we had a much harder first half of the schedule than second half. And I said on this podcast many times, I felt like the second half of the year was going to be a lot better for the Saints. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that of our final 13 games, 11 of those 13 were winnable. And by my count, and by the way, 11 of 13 being winnable does not mean, or maybe it was 9 of the last 11, but whatever it was, does not mean we'll win all those games. It means we have an opportunity to. I was not counting the
Yeah.
game against the Rams. I was not counting either game against the Bucks. Well, guess what? They beat the Bucks once. Did not beat the Rams. They split with the Bucks. Now, I was counting Carolina and Atlanta. In so far, they've played 3 out of their 4 matchups, and they're 2-1. They lost to Atlanta once, beat Carolina twice. I think you're right. We're probably much closer. But I also think the second half of the schedule is decidedly easier. I mean, when you have now at the time, I think we all thought Chicago was not going to be very good. Chicago obviously wound up being much better than any of us thought. But when you're playing teams like Tennessee and the Jets and some of these other teams at the time, we also thought Carolina was going to be a lot worse than they were. So now that didn't matter because it was Saints wound up beat them twice anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's what it says to me as a Saints fan is 2 things. We still don't know about Tyler Shough. What we do know is that we've seen enough to let him run it back and see if he keeps getting better. And we've seen enough from Kellen Moore to know that he knows how to improve and make adjustments throughout the course of the year and not lose the team. But those are the only things I really cared about coming into a year with a bad cap situation and a brand new head coach. Show me why you picked this guy in the second round. Okay, they showed me. Do I think he's on track to be Hall of Famer? No. Do I feel optimistic about him being like a consistent and like advantageous starter? Yeah. But that's what you hope for, right? You don't go into it hoping for the next GOAT. That happens and you're like, oh, I didn't expect that, but I love it, which is why Tom Brady, the best to ever do it, being a 6th rounder is just even crazier,
Yep. So looking at the Saints' schedule, 6 of the 10 losses are to playoff teams.
And how many of those were one-score games? At least 3.
It's 1, 2, 3. No, it's 2 score. 1, 2, 2. Looks like were 1-score games.
Which ones were those? Patriots and who?
49ers. Those were both 1-score. Now non-playoff, we lost to the Cardinals by a touchdown. Let's see, lost to the Dolphins by 4.
Yeah. Now the Bills game was more than a touchdown, but it was a late score that made that because that was a competitive game. So
there's several games that they've played this year that were very winnable. And maybe if Shough is in there, they win those games, but maybe they don't. Maybe the results are the same. But you have definitely seen progression with him from the time he came and started playing until now. Like, he's getting better and better, which is what you want to see. You want to see those gradual improvements and stuff. He's making smart decisions with the football, not just turning it over, not making, not being loose with the football and stuff. So,
right.
And the Saints have had quite a few injuries this year. Like the run game, their running backs have been decimated by injuries. And of course they traded out some guys that would help down the stretch run. But and in fact, Shaheed had a 100-yard touchdown kickoff return for the Seahawks a couple weeks ago. I was like, of course he did.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm optimistic. I wouldn't say excited, but optimistic about the future. So, playoff race is going to be exciting coming down to the wire. Check out the games on Netflix tomorrow. Hopefully they don't crash. But more than anything, this is Christmas Eve. Enjoy this football weekend because we get 18 of them in the NFL before the playoffs start. We've already exhausted all of our regular season college football weeks. You have this one and one more. And then you don't get any more regular season weeks until September. So enjoy it. Don't let that be negative. Don't let that be bittersweet. Enjoy it, knowing that it's coming to a close for this cycle, and we'll have to get back to it next year, but not before we get some exciting playoff football. So, any final thoughts before we wrap our second to last week of the NFL?
Yeah, I think there's some good games coming up this weekend. Um, and like we were saying, enjoy tomorrow with your family, right? And if you're having stuff tonight with your family, enjoy the time. It's Christmas, it's definitely time to spend with your loved ones, and
watch Home Alone.
Yeah, yeah. Um, put on your favorite Christmas movie. You turn on TBS and watch a Christmas Story for the next 24 hours.
Hot take, that is not a good Christmas movie.
My sister would fight you on that, but
that's fine. That's fine. She can fight me. Tell her she's got my number. Come on, we'll fight. But I'm just listen. For me, it's a Wonderful Life. Fred Claus. I can get down with Elf, although Elf is not necessarily my favorite. So Fred Claus, It's a Wonderful Life. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Die Hard, if you want to consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, then Die Hard. Although Bruce Willis himself said it's not a Christmas movie, it's a Bruce Willis movie. So,
Macaulay Culkin said it wasn't one either.
I saw that. I did see that, and I like his logic. If you didn't see that, what he said was you can take the Christmas out of Die Hard, and it still functionally works as a story. You cannot take the Christmas out of Home Alone and it still functionally works, which I don't completely agree with. But you can take the Christmas out. That could be going on a Memorial Day holiday and it could still, but I get what he's saying. Like I get like the logic behind what he's saying. So, but I'm trying to think if there's some other ones, but no, that one never does it for me. I like A Christmas Carol.
The Santa Claus.
I'm fine with the Santa Claus. I it's growing on me as I have kids who are like around the age that enjoy that movie. But I'll tell you another one that's starting to become like revered. Well, Christmas Vacation, obviously. I mean, you can't not watch that,
right? Yeah.
But one that's starting to become revered that doesn't move the needle for me is Jingle All the Way. It's fine. I don't have it's not like I like roll my eyes and it's like, why would anyone ever watch that? But it doesn't move my holiday needle at all.
Is that the Schwarzenegger one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember. It's been a long time since I watched that one, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one I watched last year that I liked. No, it's not like great by any means, but that Red One, the Chris Evans and The Rock movie.
Okay. I enjoyed that movie, and if you haven't watched it and you just want a fun, almost 2 hours with two really good comedic actors, that's a good one. I thought that was good. I was thinking in terms of movies that are going to be on the Brown household TV every year for years to come, and those are basically Christmas Vacation, It's a Wonderful Life, and Fred Claus. And if you haven't seen Fred Claus, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's good. It's funny. It's irreverent. It's it's all the things that the millennials who grew up in the late 2000s loved. So without the Wedding Crashers vulgarity, So yeah. But no, Red One's good. You should check that out. But that's not going to become a staple, I don't think, for anybody.
No.
But and Elf's always good. I don't have an issue with Elf. I just don't think Elf ever spoke to me the way it did other people of our generation. So I'm fine with Elf, but I don't have to have it to survive.
I'm I can live without. I mean, Will Ferrell's sometimes gets my nerves, so um, I have to be in a mood to watch Elf. It's not one that I'm just going to sit down and turn on. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys for joining us. Quacker will be back later in the week to conclude our second round coverage of Alumni House, and we will be back at some point next week. Whether it's both of us or just Quacker, we don't know yet, but we will do Southbound next week to finish out the regular season, and of course at that point we'll be talking about the final week's matchups and what the implications of each of those are. So with that being said, happy Christmas Eve. Have a Merry Christmas. And we will see you guys this weekend.